Welcome to the Performance Portfolio Podcast with Coop and Coop. Greg Cooper and Cooper Allen bridge the gap between performance and finance to help you build a stronger life and a more resilient future. Let's get into today's episode.
Coop, we've been talking about this behind scenes, and it's some of the nuances of performance where people think you need this to be considered high performance, and if you're this, you're not. So this was, again, as most of our greatest topics, one of your great brainchilds. So I'll let you take it off, and I'm excited to get into this one.
Yeah, there's a few different angles we could touch on this from, but the first is kind of a public service announcement for people trying to build businesses right now. I think true entrepreneurs that have been around for a while don't do a ton of this, but I see a lot of people, they'll get started and they'll be excited. Maybe they're selling real estate or they're in the financial world or now they're a personal trainer or uh, but they get online and they completely start crapping on the 9 to 5 that they were in 3 weeks ago. And it just, yeah, I could never have another grown man tell me when I get to go to the bathroom and just comments like that, that if you make the comment once and you're trying to make it from a place of, hey, I want to encourage more people to get some more flexibility and fulfillment in their life and increase their income, solve a lot of their problems. And if it comes from a good place, that's one thing. But if it's consistent and it's repeated and it's if you're not a high performer, then you're a loser. It just there's that type of mentality and messaging that I think needs to be removed from the entrepreneurial space that's crept into it. And I wanted to get on here and just spitball some ways, Greg, with you where we believe that somebody could be a high performer and an awesome contributor in their community without necessarily needing to believe that anyone who works a job is a loser. And if you don't make $1 million a year in business, you're a loser. Because the truth of the matter is that most things we see online, most of the people we think are successful don't even make $1 million a year. They say they do, but they're talking about $1 million in revenue and 900 grand of expenses, so they're making 100 grand and talking like they make a million. So I don't want to get on here and lower anybody's ambition. If you're chasing a big milestone, keep going. Uh, but I think it's worth addressing the boomer bust nature mentality and how unsustainable that is for the common person, and how I think there is a great success story for the person who goes from 35 bucks an hour to 60 bucks an hour, or the person who is making 100 grand right now and instead of jumping to a million, they jump to 150, but then they figure out how to do it on 30 hours a week instead of 50. So they've got more time with their kids or to focus on their health. Um, I'm curious to see uh, kind of some of the things that you recommend today, or some of your insights on what it truly means to be a high performer. And if you believe, because I think my core belief system is that everybody should strive in some capacity to be a high performer. Maybe not necessarily in their job. And I don't think everybody can make $1 million and be a rock star dad and be ready to compete in a fitness challenge and et cetera, et cetera. But in some area of your life, I think you can pick an area to be great at. And to me, high performance is about, if you're a 3 out of 10 here, just get your structures and systems and mindset in a place where you can go from a 3 to a 5. Because most people are realities are not going to be 9 or 10 out of 10
Mhm.
on everything. But there's definitely areas that can improve. And I hope that our audience isn't just people who are making $1 million a year who want to go to two, or isn't people who maybe haven't built anything yet, but their boomer bust objective is like $1 million or 10 million bucks or 100 million bucks. I hope that we have some listeners that are making 70 grand a year right now and they want to make 90, and they want to improve their health and their mental health and their day-to-day life as well. So what are some of your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got a few really quick ones. So first, some of the highest performers in the world are the brokest financially. They're the athletes, they're the Olympic athletes that aren't sponsored, that they are the greatest at what they do. And they have no money. So money is not a indicator of high performance. Now, to a point, there needs to be a line where you need that to live in this day and age. But yeah, some of the highest performers I know are not very financially well off, but they love what they do, and it's why they're put on this earth. And will that someday pay? For them, I truly am cheering for them to make it pay. Sometimes it never will, but their biggest goal in life might be an Olympic gold medal, and not many people can say they have that. Now, those people, some of them turn it into a super business. Ryan Fish, one of the most successful personal trainers, fitness professionals on the planet, when he was doing CrossFit, when he started, he was so broke he didn't even have the right shorts to wear. So he had to steal shorts out of other athletes' tents and bags so he could compete in the games. And now he owns one of the biggest performance businesses, Chalk Performance. So, right, like there's a pathway if there's that. Um, on the people that we visually see, oh, they've made it. More often than not, they haven't. And in the world of where entrepreneurship, Andy Frisella was talking about this week on his podcast, it's gotten convoluted because of the incredible technology out there. You can make a lot of money in a flash of a pan one time by making a widget, making an agent, making incredible stuff with AI. But then what's next? Like you have to keep making that stuff unless that one thing can be growing, right? How did Elon Musk get his start? PayPal. Then he sold that for 200 million and now he's the first trillionaire on the planet. High performance in that specific realm, absolutely. But it's not the money that is the only determining factor. And to your point on the, two more here. Yeah, very few individuals can be a high performer professionally, personally, as a father, as a dad, as a son, and professionally, they're number one in their industry, and personally in their passion, they're number one in their sports, and they go crush CrossFit or flag football in whatever league, or if they play Premier League soccer and they're the top league. That's 0.00001% of the population that can achieve that. And for the people that do it, awesome. I think that is so badass. To everybody else, high performance, some people will never be a high performer. And this is going to ruffle some feathers, but high performance or performing at a high level are two very different things. You could perform at a high level in something and never be high performance. High performance means you're at the highest height in that area. You are national, international, whatever the peak Olympics, right? Like I'll use judo. A national competitor, a national champion is high performance until they're compared to the Olympic team members that are medaling internationally. Then they're developing. So it's also what the span of your area, what your field of play is, right? So there's a lot of nuances there, but most people, the people that are goal oriented, that have big goals, whether it's financial, whether it's a personal, whether it's a accolade, a medal, a title, whatever they're chasing, can achieve high performance, even if it's only for a short span of their life. To be a high performer for your whole life, again, there's a very finite amount of people that can do that. But, you know, if you have a goal for a short span of time because it's maybe age or you perceive it to be, I need to do this before I get too old, and you want to be a backyard ultra marathon world champion, you want to break the record while you're still capable of it, go do it. And if you do that, great. You are a high performer. You were the best at what you were doing at that moment. Good for you. That is fantastic. Nobody can ever take that away from you. That is awesome. So high performance and the nuances. No, it's not all about is what you're doing making you millions? Is what you're doing making you an Olympic champion? No, it's about the field of play you're in the specific snapshot of what you are performing in at that time. You can be a high performer at the provincial level if that is your span of what you're doing. You can be at the national, international, every. So there's lots of levels to it, but high performance, again, it really depends how you define it.
Yeah, and let's scale it back from sport. and look at being a parent, for example. How can you quantifiably go pro as a parent? Well, for most people, you don't. But you could be in the same way in sport where you were a Division 3 softball player, men's beer league, to now you're Division 2, now you're Division 1, now you play provincially on a circuit, whatever, and you're getting better. You're still probably not even in the top 500 slow pitch players in Canada, let alone the world, but you're better than you were when you started. And I think that's the thing for someone as a parent is maybe you're never going to be the best parent in the world, but are you striving to be the best that you could be? Maybe you're not going to be a trillionaire, but are you maximizing the resources you have available to get financially independent and debt free? Because I look at it more holistically. I don't see it as maximizing income or maximizing your ability on the ball diamond or on the golf course or needing everybody to see you as the best parent. It's just how about maximize your life? Just play the life game. What is when you're on your deathbed, are the decisions that you make throughout the course of your life going to have you regretting your life or going to have you proud of who you became through the journey? Because the consequence of good decisions is complete peace of mind. I've said that on the podcast before. We're not in a world where the goal should be to impress strangers. It's, am I building something that I'm proud to live out? Do I feel good about how present I was with my kids? Do I feel good about the type of income that I'm earning? And I have a lot of room for people who grew up in a lower middle income household who became an upper middle class household. I don't need the dirt floor to billionaire story. We've got tons of those. You could go online and go tell me someone who was flat broke and made it as a super successful business owner. There's tons of those stories. But what about for the everyday person? What about for the person that we talked about men's mental health last month? Maybe they're like, you know what? I don't really have much of an experience with this. I'm just a regular average dude with no injuries, no illnesses, pretty middle class. Or yeah, we our family struggled with money. We were tight. We were pay to pay. We were lower middle income, but I wasn't like dirt floor. Like maybe I skipped a meal, but I didn't skip a week's worth of meals. Maybe there's a period where it was craft dinner and hot dogs, but it was never going without. And I feel like there's a lot of people in that bucket that they almost don't think that they're enough of a victim to be high performance because they think they got to go rags to riches. But it's like, what if you're a 4 right now, it's very noble to get to a 6. If you're a 6 now, it's very noble to get to an 8. It doesn't need to be a 0 to 10 jump. Even though it's the internet that celebrates the extremes, the the guy that came from nothing and became a millionaire. But we got to get out of this mentality that everyone's either a lion or a sheep. Like, what about just the everyday dude, the everyday woman trying to make it in the world that's doing their best? Personal growth. If you are a better person when I talk to you a month from now than you are today, you are more evolved in either the way you think, your mental health's in a better spot, you've been a better parent, you've saved some more money, you're physically feeling better. I look at the 3 pillars. I see it as financial health, mental health, physical health. If in those 3 pillars, every time I talk to you, you seem to be getting better in all of those, then I don't really care that you sucked a year ago. I'm not really concerned with your past. I'm concerned with where you're going. And that to me is maybe that's not the definition of high performance, but I think it's something that deserves to be talked about
Hmm.
a lot more.
I'm so happy you went that route on it because I was thinking on like how I would define high performance to, the regular everyday person. And not that the person I'm talking about is by any means a regular everyday person. She's one of the highest performers I know. But we had this conversation yesterday. It's my best friend Allie, and she's a fantastic personal trainer. And for individuals that, aren't in the limelight, aren't the Olympic champ, aren't the, most successful entrepreneur making millions of dollars, it's The high performer is the person that, continually exceeds expectations, personal to other people, to the people they work with. Um, Again, in the profession, personal growth, at home with the family. You're the best dad ever. You're the best sister ever. You're the best daughter ever, right? It's those comments that indicate that, yeah, you're going above and beyond in your daily life, and that's now become your standard, and it's not above and beyond to you. That's the standard. Like, I always need that. And for the people that maybe think, oh, I'll never be a high performer, if you're an individual, especially in your profession, that your manager, your boss, even your coworkers never comment on the great things you do every day, but they comment on the things you don't do, that's an indicator that you're in that high performance realm, or you're a higher performer than them, because they don't notice the good and the great things you do every day because it's just what you do every single day. But they notice the things that you're not doing because they're like, oh, that person, whether they consciously or subconsciously like see it, they're like, well, they can do more. If that's like the comments you're getting, that means you're in that realm. That for the, for regular everyday people that are high performers inherently, because they come from sports background, because they come from a household that was always, playing games, and there's like competition. They had older siblings that they were always chasing. They had the friend that was that, like, in our group, that's the guy, that's the girl. Everything they touch, they're good at. Every sport we play, they're frustrating. They're good at everything. They suck. You play a board game, they're going to win, right? It's those people. So there's like another definition of high performance, and I'd be remiss if I don't mention that, because those people are out there and those people are in your friend group. You're that person potentially. They're everywhere. It just depends on the field of play and where we're pulling that definition from.
Absolutely. There's so many ambitious people that do such a disservice to themselves and to non-ambitious people, because a lot of ambitious people, they chase a certain lifestyle, but in doing so they create a life that they hate. They're so focused on, I got to get the next promotion, or I got to get the next car or the next house or the next piece of recognition or whatever it is. Uh, I got to get that. And maybe it's not in their career, but maybe they're trying to be family oriented, but still looking at it the wrong way. They're like, well, I got to get the next best toy for my kids. And I get to take them to the next best attraction. Oh, we've been to Disney 6 times. Well, yeah, I could take my kid to the grocery store a half dozen times and they're gonna have just as much fun at Disney because they're gonna see the lobsters and they're gonna whatever point out the fruits and like it just do, do they need the big experience, or do they need presence and um, growth opportunities and happy, healthy examples? And um, so there's a lot of ambitious people that I think they do ambition wrong. I shouldn't say wrong, but I think they do themselves a disservice by looking at ambition that way. I'd say, yeah, go, if you're an ambitious person, go chase it. Go build what you want to build. Go, don't set smaller goals because I said so. Go set your big goals, but just audit who you're becoming along the way. And are those big goals helping you improve your mental, physical, financial health? Or are they pulling away from those goals and leaving you unfulfilled in the process? And maybe if you're listening to this and you're not crazy ambitious, maybe you're not crazy ambitious because you know a few ambitious people in your life and they look exhausted. And you look at them and you go, you know what? I wouldn't want to sacrifice my family that much, or I wouldn't want to work that hard. Uh, you don't have to. You could go from being, like we talked about earlier, a 3 out of 10 on the ambition scale to a 5 out of 10. Just put in a little bit more effort and you're going to be way more proud of yourself. You're going to show, if you work a little bit more intentionally at your job or in your business, you're going to show up as such a better parent because you've got confidence in yourself. The way that you operate is going to look different. So I would challenge you. You don't think ambition is boom or bust. Don't look at your one friend who's constantly talking about all the things that they're doing, but they're all burnt out. Uh, look at people who have it together in a lot of areas And just you you don't have to be so many people don't chase it because they think the consequences are too great. Well, the consequences of chasing it are only too great when you don't set the foundation of who you are and what you believe in and what your boundaries are and what you're not willing to sacrifice along the way. And there's quite a few people that are proof that you can have it all. You just have to create structures and systems in your life to make sure you have it. And uh, I in my younger years, I always set goals on we want to help this many families and we want to be at this level of income. And here's what we want to do and how much we want to give and all of that. And I'm in this phase of my life. I don't know if it'll be a forever thing, but I'm in this season right now, Greg, where I almost don't care what the number ends up being. I want to wake up and I want to choose to help people. I want to wake up and I want to choose to improve my life. I want to get better so that the better that I can get, the more value that I can add to the people that I care about and to my community and to the marketplace. And wherever that takes me, whether that's $300,000 a year, but infinite amount of time with my kids and a system where we've got advisors helping families without me needing to be there, great. If that's millions of dollars a year and millions of those dollars donated back into local community charities and causes, awesome. Uh, but I still have the big goals. I just don't think it's the most important part of my journey. And I think that's a very powerful place to be because if those goals ever get taken away from me, I think that the challenge for a lot of people is they set a goal and then they hit it and they're empty because they're like, well, now what? But if your foundational goal outside of the big one is just I'm going to live a life where I'm going to chase the next best version of me in my mental health, in my physical health, in my parenting, in my ability to be a friend, in my financial health, in all areas, not just keeping up with the Joneses. I think that's a really healthy place to be.
The people that look the most perfect are typically not. The people that are always going, oh, look at the things, or they're not saying, look at the things I'm doing. They're saying, oh, I've done that. I did that. I do that. But they never put it out there and you never see what they're doing, especially in the entrepreneurship world or the coaching world where they're like, yeah, I built all this stuff. Where is it? Why isn't it out in the public? Why can't we see it? Outside of very specific industries, and if you're at the point where you have to keep names quiet, that means you're probably working with crazy high net worth individuals that, for security reasons, need to not have their name out there. The ones, and I talked about this one of my posts this last month, Men's Mental Health Month. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. And you said it, right? Look at the people around you that are consistently good, great in a lot of aspects of their life. Those are the people that you need to look to ask for advice, right? Like one of my greatest mentors, one of my greatest friends, the head sensei of our club, Rashadi, always says, perfection's the enemy of excellence. Because if you're always chasing perfection, you're never going to get it. But if you chase excellence, you will start creating a lot of success, a lot of personal wins, a lot of personal high performance in what you do. And the the high performance mindset is increasing your performance in different areas of your life. And like on the family side of it, very hard to quantify because there's no best mom in the world championship, but do your friends go, oh my God, I don't know how you do it. Like you are the greatest dad, you're the greatest mom, you're always there, you never miss a recital, and you're avoiding that burnout. And that's a big thing, no matter what it is, whether it's being a parent, which in everything in life, especially I'm not a parent, but I see it. That's a lot of work. That's one of the hardest jobs in the world, being present and being a great parent. And I grew up with two amazing parents and an amazing family around because it does take a village. And, I strive when I do have kids to be and to create the space that my parents created for me. But it's, quantifying that level of performance on, yeah, my mom is the best mom in the world. You might disagree because you're going to say your mom's the best mom in the world, but that's the point. So in your friend group, the person that is like, kind of has that sage role, like they're the person in your friend group that everybody goes to advice for. It's probably because they're not perfect. And it's definitely not because they're perfect. It's because they're consistent and they're consistently putting in the work in all of the areas of their life to be better and to help and to push what is possible and to continue that, and not just selfishly. Because there are, more specifically in the athlete side, you have to be selfish to be a high performer at times, like when you're chasing specific athletic goals. But in general life and your personal growth, if you're not bringing others with you, then you may be looking at it wrong, because it shouldn't always be selfish. There are times where the community is more important than your own accolade or your own award that you're going to win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a perfect place to wrap for today. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, I'm sure, but and just a quick, short, sweet, to the point message for people that, hey, if you're making 80 grand a year and you're coaching your kids' little league team and you love it and you're a hero to them and you're putting money back in the community and you're getting by, and um, we see you. You're important. You matter, and we need way more of you. So uh, don't think that you're not seen. Don't think that you're not heard. Don't think that you're not appreciated. The only way society gets better is if individuals get better. And I think for me, I've always operated my life on my job when I go places is to leave them better than I found them. Whether that's my family, whether that's an organization, whether that's a family I'm helping, whatever the case may be. So appreciate you providing some perspective on that, Greg, through a performance lens, and looking forward to the next conversation.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Coop. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Thanks for tuning in this week. If you found value in today's episode, like, subscribe, and share with someone in your circle so they too can build a stronger life and a more resilient future.